Look at this beauty here. These just feel fantastic. They're in perfect shape, wonderfully round keto bun. And look at this. Absolutely perfect. Hey guys, it's the Keto King here, and today we've got another fantastic keto bread recipe. Well, not actually a bread, we're doing keto buns today. Now, if you haven't already seen the keto bun recipe that I have on my channel already, I'll put a link to it in the top right hand corner of my screen now. Go check that one out, really, it is superb. But if you're looking for a different type of keto bun, and maybe one that's even closer to regular store-bought buns, then watch on for this awesome keto bun recipe. The ingredients you'll need to make these keto buns are some sweetener, some vital wheat gluten, salt, some oat fiber, flaxseed meal, butter, honey, some xanthan gum, and some eggs. That's it. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing down below and hitting that notification bell so you get notified each time I upload an awesome new keto recipe on this channel. Let's get to these keto yeast buns. So grab yourself a big mixing bowl like this, and we're gonna start putting in the dry ingredients for these keto buns. So we're gonna be adding in half a cup of oat fiber. Now remember, this is just the fiber of the oats. It is not the actual oats, and it is not oat flour either. We're then going to add 2/3 of a cup of flaxseed meal, 1 1/4 cups of vital wheat gluten. Now this is the gluten from wheat. There is no wheat in here. So yes, if you are gluten intolerant, this will not work for you, unfortunately. I do have an amazing keto bun recipe that is gluten free, and I'll put a link to it in the top right hand corner of your screen now. So check that out if you have an issue with gluten. But if you don't, this keto bun recipe will be fantastic for you. We're gonna add 1 teaspoon of salt. I'm using pink Himalayan salt, but really any salt will do. Then we're gonna add in 2 tablespoons of a sweetener of your choice. I'm using erythritol, but it needs to be powdered. Now, if you don't have a powdered sweetener, simply pop your granular sweetener, put it in the blender, blend it up for a little bit, and you'll end up with this powdered sweetener. Now, I'm adding in 2 tablespoons. You can add anywhere between 0 to 4 tablespoons. Now, this does not make the bread a sweet bread. It's simply there to mimic a store-bought bun or store-bought bread. Now, sugar is added to commercial breads. It doesn't make it sweet. Just make some of these keto buns without it, make some of it with 2 tablespoons, and make some of it with 4 tablespoons, and see which one you like the best. And then lastly, we're gonna add in half a teaspoon of xanthan gum. Give that all a stir to fully incorporate the ingredients. Okay, and moving on to the liquid portions of this keto bun recipe, we're gonna start out with grabbing our stand mixer, which is needed here. If you don't have a stand mixer, you can try using the kneading function on your bread machine if you have that. Otherwise, you could try hand kneading, but that's gonna take you an extremely long period of time, and it's quite taxing on the hands as well. So grab your stand mixer, and you're gonna grab a cup of water, 240 mils. Now this needs to be between 50 and 55 degrees centigrade. So we're gonna work fairly quickly here, ensuring this doesn't drop too much in temperature. We're then gonna add in our yeast. Now we are using some instant yeast here. Now this doesn't technically need to be put in the water and proofed in the water, which is what it's called, but we're gonna do that in any event just to make sure this is a successful loaf. Pop that yeast in there into the water. We're using 1 tablespoon of this instant yeast. Then we're gonna add in the ingredient everyone panics about, the 1 teaspoon of honey. This is to react with the yeast. The yeast eats up this sugar, so you're not ingesting it. And as I said in my previous video, even if you were, it's 1 teaspoon of honey spread over the entire loaf of bread. This is not gonna affect you at all. So it's really nothing to panic about. Now give this a good mix. You want to make sure that that yeast and the honey is all fully incorporated. You want the honey to melt in the water, and then we can get this process starting of the yeast reacting with the honey. Now once you start stirring this, you should really start smelling that true yeast smell coming up from there. Some bubbles are starting to form as well, which is a good sign. So then we're going to be adding in 2 eggs, which have just been lightly beaten here. And then we're adding 2 tablespoons of butter that has been softened up in the microwave. And those eggs also need to be at room temperature, so don't take them out of the fridge and pop them straight in here. Make sure they're room temperature. Again, give that just a tiny stir. Then we're going to bring back our dry ingredients, and we're going to add in the dry ingredients to the wet. Alright. Now we're not going to start with the dough hook. We're going to start with this mixing utensil because we just want to incorporate the wet and the dry ingredients. So the first thing we're going to do is just put this on a low speed to incorporate the ingredients. Alright, and it's hard to get a good shot of this, but that's all we need to do. This is fully mixed here. Obviously make sure you want to get all of this dough off this utensil. Then we got to add on the kneading hook or the dough hook. Make sure the contents of your bowl are all nicely formed together. Pop your kneading hook in there, and then we're going to put this on about a speed 4 here, just somewhere around halfway on your machine will work. Okay. So then after 7 minutes of kneading this dough, you end up with something looking like this. Now you can see this is a beautiful stretchy dough. It should end up looking a little something like this. Alright, so now that we got this, grab yourself a tray. Just going to move this out of the way. Grab yourself a tray or a board and just form it into an almost bread-like shape. We're just going to use this for the purposes of cutting it into our keto bun slices. So now I recommend you do about 9 buns here. So if you look at the other bread recipe, that makes around 18 slices. So these buns are essentially 2 slices of bread per bun. So just try and mark out 9 so you can get a pretty even distribution of the 9. Again, it doesn't matter if it's not perfect. If some are bigger, some are smaller, it's not going to be the end of the world. Not quite the best cuts ever, but let's just do that. Then I recommend just grabbing a bread knife and simply cutting out your pieces. And if, like me, you still didn't quite cut it perfect, you can just distribute the dough between the buns to try and get roughly 9 equal size pieces of dough. Now for each of these, you want to try and roll them into a bun shape. So really, you're not going to get it perfect at this stage of the game, but just rub it between your hands, squeeze it together, make sure there's no major air pockets or anything in between the bread, and you end up with something like this. It should be around about a golf ball size, maybe slightly bigger. It just depends on how you cut your dough up, but really anything around that size should be fine. Probably somewhere between a tennis ball and a golf ball size would be right here. Alright, and there we go. We've got our 9 hamburger buns. Look amazing, don't they? No, they don't. Because they got to have time to rise, which is what we're going to do now. So, to help it rise in the shape that I want it to rise in, I'm going to use this muffin tray. And I've only got 6 of these big ones here. So we'll put our biggest 6 in here. So we've got our 6 keto bun dough balls sitting in there. And then for the other 3, I'm just going to pop them in a slightly smaller one here. Just like that. Alright, then we're going to grab ourselves some cling wrap, glad wrap, whatever you call it. Grab yourself some of that. Measure out a nice piece to cover your muffin pan. Just lightly coat it with some non-stick spray. Turn that around so the non-stick side is facing or touching the buns. And then you're just going to lightly cover this. Now this just helps the dough prevent itself from drying in this process. But you don't want to do it too tight because you don't want to also prevent the bread or the keto buns from actually rising. So really just gently drape it over the top like that so it can actually increase in size. Okay, so then what we need to do is we need to get this bread into a warm, moist environment to let it rise. So how I'm going to do that is we're going to use the microwave. I'm putting in a bowl of water in here, and then I'm just going to heat it up and let it boil for a minute, 2 minutes in the microwave. So it's gonna boil, release some lovely warm air in there, and of course increase the humidity and the moisture inside the microwave. And once done, we're just gonna remove this water from the microwave. We're gonna pop your keto bun dough right into the microwave. Now I've got a slight space issue here, so it's gonna be clever with the packing of this to make sure that it all fits. But in any event, that should work. Then you wanna add back that cup of warm water that we had. We put that in the microwave with it, so that warm water is gonna continuously keep the temperature in here nice and warm, again, also increasing the moisture and humidity. Now, like I had this microwave open for a long period of time because I was trying to multitask with the filming here. Ideally, you wanna heat up that water in there, open the microwave, pop in your keto bun dough, close it because you want to keep in all that heat and moisture you made when boiling that water in there. So if this doesn't work, I'm blaming it on that and you guys because I had to film for you. So we're going to let this rest in the microwave for 2 hours, but during that 2 hours, in order to keep that moisture and heat in there, you need to be exchanging that water that you put in every 15 minutes or so. I do that by boiling the kettle, filling up another container with the boiling water, and then as quickly as possible, opening up the microwave, taking out the old water, subbing in the warm boiling water that we just put in there, closing it, and that's it. Do that every 15 minutes. You're almost gonna be guaranteed a good rise on these keto buns. All right, so after 2 hours, this is what we have. And take a look at this. Those are looking fantastic. And these are the guys in the smaller muffin tray, and they're looking pretty nice as well. Okay, so what I've done is I've got a large baking tray here and put some parchment paper on. And we're just going to gently take out these buns out of the muffin containers and place them onto the baking sheet. So we're going to pop these into our preheated oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for around 15 to 20 minutes. Now we wait. That is not to be used for the video. Alright, so after about 17 minutes or so, this looks done to me. Let's take a look. Oh-wee. Take a look at these. I mean, you don't get more perfect than this for a keto bun. Those were the big ones. And these were the slightly smaller ones in the smaller muffin tray that we made. Beautiful shape, just a smaller size, which could be good for portion size as well, portion control. And you end up with some keto buns like this. Alright guys, so again, just look at this beauty here. I mean, these just feel fantastic. They're a perfect shape, wonderfully round keto bun. But let's cut it open to see if it looks as good on the inside as it does on the outside. Moment of truth. Oh yes. And look at this. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Look how soft that is inside. Just like real bread, you've got that slightly firmer outside. The bottom just looks like a regular bun. Give this to any non-keto or non-low carb eater and I guarantee you they are not going to be able to tell this is a low carb bun or a low carb hamburger bun. Let's give this a quick taste and I'll tell you exactly what this keto bun tastes like. My goodness, really, again, just like the bread recipes that use these similar ingredients here, this keto bun is just absolutely perfect. It tastes like regular bread. This inside is beautifully soft. If you can see that there, it's just wonderfully soft. You bite into it, you still got that golden texture. Really, the best way to describe this keto bun is that it tastes like a regular bun. Seriously, you're not gonna find something that tastes as close to regular wheat buns as this keto bun does. I promise you guys, your mind is going to be blown when you make these keto buns. One more quick bite before I carry on here. So damn good. As always in each of my other videos, look in the description box below for the macros for these keto buns. They are incredibly good. I'll also put a full ingredients list with quantities in the description box, and also some links to some of these ingredients to help you find them if you're battling to find them locally. I'll put some Amazon links down below. Seriously guys, I am in keto bun heaven right now. These are perfect. That's the way to describe it. Give these a try and let me know in the comment section below how you enjoyed these keto hamburger buns. I suspect you're going to love them just as much as I did. Of course, like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the Keto King if you're not already subscribed to my channel for more awesome keto videos just like this one. And don't forget to check out the bread maker version and oven version of this recipe if you haven't checked it out already. I'll put a link to it in the top right hand corner of your screen now. And of course, keep it keto.